careers, employment, careers, and entrepreneurship. Okay, which is ownership, a company owning, starting business and companies. So it's interesting that segued into that. I had several different ways I was going to start, but I want to share something, maybe just put this out there, and then I'm going into the scripture side of it and lay a basis for this better employment, and I hope that you all can get the word out to every persons who need to be employed, want to be employed, looking to be employed, or entrepreneurship in terms of business ownership, and et cetera, because that's what we're going to be talking about for the month of September. Lord, give me grace to try to develop out some sermons and teaching moments, because this is where we live at, you all. A couple interesting things that happened to me this week. One actually 2 weeks ago, and then it took a little further fruition this week. But on yesterday, I attended a meeting that was called by an authority, that oversees the Wayne County Airport Authority, WCAA, which is a separate entity, governmental entity that oversees the Detroit Metropolitan Airport and Willow Run Airport. It's a separate government entity that manages, oversees all of that. And so I was called into a meeting and assigned to a meeting yesterday with a select group of persons that talked about and presented an idea and a concept where there is $600 million worth of construction, and this was specific from the construction aspect, that's going on in the 4 years of 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. Over 6 million, that's over $500 million worth of construction that's going to be taking place, and some have already started. Anybody that's flown out of Detroit Metro Airport recently, you looked over, you saw there's cones out there, there's new runways being put in, there's machinery out there, dirt diggers and tractors and everything, and there's $600 plus million of construction that's taking place at both the Detroit Metropolitan Airport and Willow Run Airport. And somehow, some way, the Lord has blessed an individual, I won't say names because I know we're live streaming on some of this, to get together and be in position, who has a sensitivity and a heart for minority enterprises and for SBE, small business enterprise, small business companies, and then there's one called DBEs. SBE is small business enterprise, small businesses. DBE is disadvantaged business enterprise, which is on a federal level that deals with persons of that have certain that address certain disabilities from the Disability Act. But anyway, they have come to the church. They made a purposeful, strategic business decision to come to the churches to attempt to secure and find persons inside of our churches that has small business skills or development and or acumen to be able to receive and compete and bid and be awarded some of that $500 million, $600 million plus dollars within the next 4 years that is going to be spent, all right, on construction costs of various kinds at Detroit Metro Airport and at the Willow Run Airport. An appeal was made, and it was intense, and it was pointed, and it was so. I've been in a lot of almost all of my 28, 29 years of pastoring. From time to time, many of you know, I'm in and out of a lot of civic meetings. I'm called to meet. I'm in meetings that perhaps you may not be invited to, but I'm representing you. I'm shaking bushes. I'm listening to looking at opportunities, trying to. I'm asked for advice. I'm presented with options. Things come up, and I was just in 2 meetings today, one with the governor and one with the Secretary of State in Lansing, spent most of the day in Lansing. But yesterday in this meeting that was held in Detroit, an unprecedented opportunity was presented to a group of pastors that were there, and a plea and a cry and a call out to say, we have money to give to small business enterprises, and we are targeting a population coming to the houses of worship, to churches, to say, we believe that you can give us persons, number one, that can pass drug tests. We believe you can give us persons, number two, that have integrity. Because after all, you all, it's a church. Supposed to. We believe you can give us persons that have a propensity and an ability or capacity to be trained, that will listen to lead, to supervise, to management, that will do what they're asked to do, that will show up for work, that will get out of the bed, that won't take off every payday Friday, that won't quit the job, and be goofing off when they should be working. They explicitly laid it out and said, we've tried the workforce development, we've tried this group, we've tried labor, we've tried that group, we've appealed to all of the workforce entities, we've done this, that, and the other, and I've been pushing this and been a part of this for 25 years in various ways, this concept, and some of the elected officers and politicians buy in and others don't buy in at all, to believe that the church is the last bastion of hope where they can come and get persons who they feel and think meets the standards, and listen to this, you all, meets the standard. They're not going to let you come under the standard, but meets the minimal standards for which they can hire. They identified many barriers. They've been in the game long enough to see and know that big construction companies, major players, frontliners, general contractors have erected many types of barriers, checks and balances, rules and regulations that bottom line is only designed to weed out certain populations. And now we have persons that sit in the seat of decision making and in the seat of authority to have finally say, I'm going to reverse all of that. I know the game. I've been in it. They fooled us long enough. I've been a part of this. I've been affected by it. And we're going to take away all of those supposed policy requirement, keep away barriers that have hindered access. But they begged and pleaded and asked for the religious community and the faith-based and certain select churches, please give us somebody. We're going to qualify them. We're going to put them on a fast track, and we're going to get them prepared and ready to receive some opportunities for contracted services and for getting some of this $600+ million that is going to be spent. I had this discussion before Comerica Park was built. I called in the meetings. They asked and looked and said, we're going to build Comerica Park to replace Tiger Stadium, and we need a certain number of Detroiters, minority suppliers, whatever. And we watched that happen. I had this discussion when they redid the lodge. Matter of fact, the Dodge the Lodge, y'all remember the Dodge the Lodge program when they redid the whole lodge. Matter of fact, I was a part of that. We had a member in our ministry, in our church, that came in and had a training facility in Belleville, and he was a labor movement guy, and we met with myself and Bishop Sheard, and he said to us, anybody that we would recommend that we would do soft training, which we did, and we would say that they passed the cut the mustard of the recommendation from the church. We give them to them. They would do the expertise training and put them on the lodge to work. We had several persons to get employed by that. Other churches I reached out to had several persons. So it happened with that. We did it when they built the Lions Stadium, Ford Field. Okay, we heard it and we did it when Little Caesars Arena was built. I went through the same meeting saying, okay, now and all of these are multi-million-dollar projects. We did it when now it was a big push with the Ambassador Bridge that they're building and rebuilding, redoing. Okay, now it comes to the Metro Airport, where they're asking, begging, because I'm using this as a launch rather than going the scripture way. I'm just using it as a launch to talk about, get us into better employment, better entrepreneurship, better careers, a subject matter, you all. So just bear with me on this. So they're going to, and their barriers, things like, for instance, it always required that a company have $5 million in insurance for litigation. They're going to lower that to a threshold that's doable and that is more equitable for companies of minority interest and companies, small SBEs, that they know can't reach that threshold. They had other barriers where they required certain staffing and certain conditions and certain this, that. They're going to change all that. And here are the areas, you all, the type of businesses and enterprise firms that they're looking for. Office trailers, which involves office supplies, computers, office printing, trailer cleaning of trailers, recycling opportunities, dumpster services, sea container rentals. We rent those containers and dump stuff in it. They're looking for guard booth operations. What does that mean? Security guards. Flagging and escorting. People you see on the side of construction road with orange flag, all you do is wave a flag. Just wave a flag, just wave a flag, just wave a flag. Don't you just wave a flag? And they are annoyance, y'all blow y'all horn at it, y'all don't listen, they talk to it, but they're employed. And all they're doing is waving the flag. Okay. Barricades, construction signage. They're looking for consultant vehicles, construction rentals of high-lows and vehicles and lifts and et cetera. Hydro seeding, which involves site preparation, skilled trades, all of the skilled trades, electricians, millwrights, concrete layers, plumbers, electricians, drywall installers. And, if you've installed drywall in your basement and in the church, and plumbing, trucking issues, hauling, dust control, porta-john trucking, concrete breaking, sweeping concrete. With a broom, sweeping concrete. All right, milling, saw and cutting, pouring. They're looking for tree removal services, grass cutting, litter control, picking up litter, fencing. If you know how to install a chain link fence, safety and security. Jack boring, soft digs, hydro excavating, suppliers of materials like bringing fuel and driving fuel trucks and water to a construction site, utility locations and videographies, just being able to videograph certain things, take pictures and photos, surveying, OSHA issues, painting and stripping, removing, excavating, demolishing, tearing something up. If you know got a company, you can just tear some stuff up. Just demolishing stuff, tearing things, the equipment repairs, project management. These are the areas that they're looking for. Here's the deal. They want us to submit to them a list of persons that are within our church who, one or two categories, preferably the most valued possession is companies or persons who've already been certified as a SBE, small business enterprise. Okay, and if you are already an SBE, they're going to fast track you within the 1 to 3 weeks. You'll be sitting in front of persons in a meeting, called to a meeting, when they will come in with a folder of job work orders and say who can cut lawn, who can paint stripes, who can demolish this, who can cut grass, who can be an electrician, who can be I got a $50,000, I got a $1 million contract, I got a $2.9 million, I got a $500,000 contract for somebody to wave a flag. And if you're sitting in that room at that time, recommended by your pastor, you're going to get the opportunity to bid on that job. Within 3 weeks, if you're already SBE certified. Pastor, I want to do it. My company is not SBE certified. We got you covered. They will send you through, it'll take you 3 to 4 weeks to, number one, first of all, be hand walked through. Hold your hand, walk you through an application process, which is not that difficult, to take your expertise, your now existing company, and get it government, legally, county certified as a small business enterprise. And after the 3 to 4 weeks, then you're put into the pool for that other 1 to 3 week fast track. Now, they gave us instances and told us situations where what has already occurred at Metro Airport, they were there. And I'm out there so much because I'm flying in and out. They are renovating. They are putting in a new runway. And you can see for the airplanes, they put in a new runway, and it's about 10 and a half acres currently in one area where they are increasing and expanding and putting in a new new runway. And they had a bid for, it was $1.2 million to cut the grass around this 10 and a half acre runway where they were going to put in. They went through some processes, and Deacon Powell, one mother and son who was given privy and allowed to bid, got the job, came on the job site with 2 push lawnmowers, to cut 10 and a half acres of runway grass. And so they stressed to us, you got to meet minimum requirements. But there are some requirements. He said, now had they come out there with 2 riding mowers, we would have let them do it. But they came out there with 2 lawn boys, a Sears rover pushing to go and cut 10 and a half acres. I mean, we got to get ourselves together enough to understand we can't be afraid of criteria and licensing, regulation, certification. But you have to also know, in many cases, some of these are set. It's really a weed out process. They set these thresholds because they know you don't have the initiative and the get up and go to even do this. And they've already determined your level of interest, your level of involvement, your level of competency, and they set it GED required. And they know you're not going to go get your GED. They said it college, high school diploma required. They said it. That don't mean you're going to get the job. That means there's a threshold. Even the bachelor's degree, master's degree. I mean, any and everybody, and I've been to school, I've got a couple degrees, earned degrees, and you know and I know that when you get finished, the day you graduate, the myth is you think that you have learned enough and paid enough money and took enough exams that you're ready to go to work. And the truth is you don't know nothing about work. You have a degree? Yes. Can you do the job? No. Will anybody be truthful with me? That's a myth. So what would the degree do, Pastor? It gets your foot in the door. It allows you to apply. It allows you to get through across the threshold. And now that you've got the degree and you apply and go through the interview, your employer tells you and sits you down, and the very first thing they're going to do is train you. They really don't care. They'll almost tell you, in some times corporations will tell you, forget about what you learned in engineering, forget about what you learned. This is the real deal. Let me tell you how we do it here. Do I got any witness to anybody? But what did the degree do? What did all that schooling do? It taught you how to think critically. It gave you some critical thinking skills. It let them know you're not a quitter. Out of all the papers you had to write, out of all the exams you had to take, out of all the quizzes that was put on you, out of all the research you did, you made it through a grueling process, and you graduated. So you have something in you that makes you compete, go, win, succeed because of what you've been through for 4 years. That's all it does. They don't do any more than that. You were taught how to critically think. Hopefully you were taught how to solve problems. Hopefully you were taught how to read and how to write. And so that's what they want. How to follow, how to meet deadlines, how to get if your paper's due on the 1st of the month, you can't turn it in. If you turn it in on the 2nd, you're going to be penalized. So that's what school taught you. That's what it taught you. All right? And you all know many people have bypassed the college curriculum and become billionaires and millionaires. But generally, if you sit down and talk to them, there's some quirkiness, there's some acumen, there's some focus they got, there's some competency they got that makes them stand out, and they are so driven, focused, and committed that it makes them stand out from everybody else, and and they get the job done. So I'm starting off by saying, now that was one incident, and then there's much more that I will give you. This is one type of opportunity. Shared that with you, and this is real. The other thing, just 2 days ago, during our convocation, let me back it up. FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler, used to be my former employer, Chrysler Motor Company, and now it's FCA of Fiat Chrysler, is building a brand new plant down on Mack Avenue. Anybody heard that yet? They're going to hire. Matter of fact, they're already hiring. What they've done, they've come to the church again. There is a pilot program going on that a few of our churches are involved in, that they have commissioned them, all right, to prepare or get persons ready to pass before you get hired by Chrysler FCA. There's an aptitude test that I saw, I read, I looked over, and it ain't no joke, that you got to pass in order to even be considered to be hired by them. So they came to churches. They got about 8 churches set up right now where they have used them as satellite and processing centers, where they hired math tutors and hired educators to come in and sit people down. All right, I think it was a 4-week process. I think it's just ending this with 3 or 4 weeks, where they were supposed to process 1,000 people in the city of Detroit within, I think, a 1 week or 2 week process. I think they processed 700 to 800 people. But they brought them in, taught them about how to take this, prepped them, went over the skills, aptitude to math, updated their math, their spatial requirements, some physics questions. I looked at it, and one of them said, if Joe is standing 8 feet from the ground and drops a 10-pound ball, and Jane is standing the same distance, 8 feet above the floor, and drops a 20-pound ball, which ball will hit the floor faster? And so there's some dimensional stuff. There's spatial. There's some math skills. The story. Y'all know a story. We used to call them story problems. Story problems where they read you. John was given 4 quarters, and Jill was given 2 dimes, and Jack was given 6 nickels, and they exchanged this. At the end of the day, how many nickels? Who has the most money? Type of thing. All those old story problems and you have to break them down and read. The way I was taught to do story problems incrementally. You write down every fact pattern. Joe equal 5 quarters. Jill equal what I say, 6 dimes. Henry equal. So you got your fact pattern, and then you go read. And every time you are given some facts in this sentence, you then process it, or you have something in place already to, rather than trying to read the whole thing and absorb it. You'll never get there. You got to break it in bite sizes and then deal with it as the information is going, and process it, and then you'll get to your result. But here's the point. And so right now, this is happening as I speak today, and then many of you, an email went out to the news that you can use from the jurisdiction just yesterday that said about FCA is hiring 3 management posts, 3 management positions. They're hiring persons in management from 3 management positions, and you had a minimum requirement was a GED, if I recall, and or a high school diploma, and not just assembly line workers, but they got jobs that they had for, Fiat Chrysler Automotive employment opportunities. There are 3 management positions available at the new Mack Avenue plant that shall be open, operational fall of 2020, fall of next year. The Fiat Chrysler management team, they went to one of our churches. In this case, they went to Joshua Temple. Rosa Sharon also was involved in it. They went there, and this is what they said in their official release. Fiat Chrysler Automotive came to the church seeking candidates for the following reasons. They believe members of the church to be people of integrity. They believe the church have the ability to pass a drug test. They believe the church people have a desire to advance within FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automotive Corporation. 2 of the positions require a minimum of a high school diploma/GED. 1 position requires a bachelor's degree. Applicants must first apply online, and then gives it online, and then there would be a hiring fair that would be held at Joshua Temple. Dates to be determined. I know there's a hiring fair also held, or at least a processing fair held at Rosa Sharon Church. Why are corporations, companies, businesses now turning to the church? Because few reasons. The marijuana law, somehow, some way, our people, because it became law, they were already doing it, but they got caught in the okie doke. And the okie doke was, if I can get a green card or whatever card it is that would let me legalize smoke cannabis, that I'm cool now because the police can't stop me because I'm legal. You are legal, but you're jobless. They stressed to us. They say, I don't care if you pass the test with 150%. When if you drop dirty and have to take that test, and we see any sign, an ounce of marijuana within you, all right, you will not get this job. Why wouldn't they hire persons that legally consuming marijuana? Because they understand they got a business to run. They don't want you cool and calm and suave, and you on a press machine that, and manufacturing car, man, it's all right, just hit the button, let it go by. Cause you legal. Now, they didn't tell y'all that when y'all voted for that to be legalized. And just do your own study. Drive around the city if you want to. Get in your car, drive 8 Mile, Wyoming, Illinois, Woodward, whatever, Finkel, whatever street you want to drive at, and count the number of those green signs. Then get in your car and go to Sterling Heights, go to Grosse Pointe, go to Novi, go to Canton, go to Southfield. And see how many green crosses you see. Y'all never thought why? Y'all never thought why? Drug us. So you can disqualify us again. Because you got disqualified by, first of all, by abortions, and I won't deal in that, but you did get that because they killed some babies. Secondly, you got disqualified by poor education because they didn't educate you. All right, you sent you to school, but you didn't, and bought you a book, but you didn't learn nothing. Okay, then they disqualified you by building jails and changing laws and coming down to one strike and you're out, and doing all kind of, letting cocaine users, all right, get away with kilos, and arrested you for a rock of crack and gave you 10 to 15 years for a rock of crack, And the cocaine user in Hollywood had kilos and got off. And it's all cocaine. And then they privatized the prison and made it a business. So they got to have an impetus for keeping you locked up. And they put crazy guards in that if you sneeze wrong, they pick on you, mess with you, and give you added time. And wait till you're just ready to get out, and they come and kind of provoke you to foolishness, add on to your sentence. Why do they do that? So I can keep making money. Somebody's selling food. They got to wear uniforms. They got to use this pay phone system that they put money in, call you, and you got to approve of it. They got to feed those machines. There's vendor supplies, what do you call it, condiments place, the laundry getting done, the shackles of the handcuffs, the beds that are made, the linen that's there, the toilet tissue that's sold. That's a business. And we buy all into it. So we disqualify. Then they go on after, and if they didn't kill the babies, if they didn't miseducate you, and then well, you don't have no degree, don't have no diploma, if they didn't lock you up in jail, all right, then they gonna make you smoke cannabis and get high. So they just knocking down your numbers every way they can. Then they set some crazy rules and thresholds. You got to have a degree to apply. They know you ain't been nowhere near college. It ain't because college is needed. It's because this is the way we keep you out. And we got apprenticeship trades programs with apprentices, and you do apprenticeship program, you can learn to be a millwright, you can learn to be an electrician, you can learn to be a tool and die, you can learn to be that, but you ain't getting in that apprenticeship program. So better employment, better careers, entrepreneurship, you all, we have to wake up. Then we walk around saying, what somebody did to me, I would have made it. If I didn't have one to get, I almost get it. Well, some don't even apply for jobs. We got a whole population of people that don't even apply for jobs. They've taken themselves out of the system. Don't even apply. So here's a situation where you got to have some get up and go. You got to have some input. You got to have some drive. You got to have something in you. The church and we and us, we can give opportunity. The Lord can bless to put people in position that has favor. He can give us a Joseph, but if ain't nobody there to do the work or apply for the work or qualify or even meet minimum requirements or don't think you're good enough, worthy enough, valuable enough to get some of what's going to $600 million going to be given out. Comerica Park is a stadium, Boston is built. Ford Field is built. You all. Little Caesar Stadium is built. The bridge is on its way to being built. The airport is being built. Willow Run is being built. And then there are other concession opportunities, stand opportunities, even aside from this construction work. And I asked a question, and I went and had some real talk straight to the guy. I want to know how I get one of them stores out there. Because they got 20, 30-year contracts affixed to them. But that's a whole other issue because that's behind the TSA, which means it's federally controlled, and da-da-da-da-da-da. But there's people they got food trucks pulling up and vendor trucks. And I went to the Arts, Beats, and Eats, my wife and I, the other day, and I saw so many food trucks and little tent rentals where Ma and Paul hamburgers and Little Brother donuts and Susie Q lemonade and I thought about it, saying, where's our people? They're selling everything that they can think of. Everything. They had tents. Anybody go? They had tents and vendors and trucks. And I was thinking, man, if somebody wanted to go in a restaurant and you couldn't afford to buy a building, get you a truck. I saw all kind of little ice cream scooters. So boy had a bicycle with a big freezer on the back of his three-wheeled bicycle selling ice cream. And I said, wow, creativity. Get up and go. Wanting to do. But we sit back and nobody helped me. Nobody told me. And y'all know when we react, I'm telling y'all a year and a half in advance, and 2 and 3 years in advance. Y'all know when we gonna react? When we see the brick and mortar already built. Chrysler's been asking for jobs for 3 to 6 months almost now. We're going to wait till that plant gets built. They done already been through, vetted, processed, and got everybody going to get. Then we're going to show up and say, y'all got any work? No, we ain't got no work. It's too late. We're way ahead of the game, and we got an opportunity, and I know I didn't go scripture yet, you all, but I want to talk practical first to you all. I'm going to give you some bases in scripture about my faith works and how to be better employed and get better, have better careers and go up the corporate ladder or ladder. And truth of the matter is, even more and better than that, how to God bless the child who has their own, how to open your own business. 3 years ago, in 2016, CGC and our church and I spent a lot of time being a part of what was called the Urban Enterprise Project. UEP was 10 churches. We were the only Church of God in Christ. 10 churches of different faiths, different denominations, different organizations got together and said, let's make an imprint in the city of Detroit. If all 10 churches can start and can birth 10 small businesses, that would be 100 small businesses that would be newly birthed in the city of Detroit to help it out during its economic decline. Anybody remember that? For a year or so, I preached and taught about economics and work and job and work and tried to tie together. And I met with certain person. We went to small business, to these business enterprise, business startup workshops, and I got right before me now many of the applications, many of the paperwork of what was presented at that time. Brother Harold Ways and Harold and Toppin Construction, Waymaker was and I got my Waymaker was a consultant firm of mine. Sister Monier Lett presented an entrepreneurship opportunity. Mr. Alexander with Mama Linda's Bakery, and there was I think Brother Nick Savi presented one. Brother Cave Rabani, who's not when I remember this church, but I helped him get started with KMR Salon. He cuts my hair even today. He's thriving now on Southfield Road and 12 Mile in a boutique. As a matter of fact, he and his wife, through my encouragement, went and got licensed. I told him, man, just stop you cutting so much hair. Stop cutting hair. Go get certified and licensed and now make money. He's taken off. He's had the University of Michigan football team. He's got celebrities and personnel that fly in, rock stars that fly in for him to cut his hair. And he was a part. I got his application right here. Little Ant's Child Care by Sister Shalita Savai, where she was doing her daycare work out of her home at that time, and they recently moved into a bigger house. And Brother Nick submitted one called Hunger Rectors. Hunger Rectors. It was a steel erection business. So this was 3 years ago, you all. In 2016, all right, and there was others that I talked to and others that took interest and went to the class, and some followed up and some didn't follow up. And not every business is going to be successful. That's not what I'm pushing. But it's 3 years later. We did have 4, 5, 6, I think, businesses. We had about 7 to start, I think, and then I think there are 3 to 4 that are still going on. But you all, if the Lord delay is coming, it's going to be 3 years from now, 2022, 21, 22. We're going to be sitting here looking at each other. And $600 million is going to be in some person's bank accounts. And y'all know what we're going to be doing? We're going to be spending money to purchase the stuff that businesses from that $600 million have started and erected. I'm not indicting. I'm just trying to challenge. My job is to hopefully challenge and whet your appetite, to influence you enough to do something, to get up and go. Nobody's coming to save you in terms of, to bring you out of your position and stage. All right. Part of what I'm going to talk about is faith without works is dead. That's the basis of it. Second part of what I'm going to talk about, or in addition to that, if out of Genesis and looking at it, what I looked at Genesis 1, Genesis 2, you all do have to understand what's really interesting is that when God made Adam and Eve, he gave them a commandment to dominate the earth. Rule and subdue and dominate what he's made. Now, what's interesting, first of all, God made the worlds. He created it, right? That says to me, number one, God worked. Y'all missed that. God made. He created, he designed, he laid out, he did the blueprint, he did the excavation, he created, he did what all he produced. Am I right? Everything that we know was made by him. After he finished doing it, you all, was interesting, he assigned Adam and Eve and told them, dominate what I made. He told them two things. He told them dominate or rule over. And then when we really read the text, he said, now subdue it and take care of it. Dominate, rule over what I made. And at the same time, while you rule over, dominate, you got to take care of it and manage it. That sounds like work. Dominate the earth, rule over it, subdue it, be in charge of it, and then manage and take care of it. Tend to it, till the ground. Now, that's before the Genesis 3, before the forbidden fruit is eaten. Adam and Eve was commanded by God both to multiply and replenish the earth. How can I multiply and replenish the earth? You got some work to do. I don't know why we, in our sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, faith, devil driving, demon casting out faith, lead us to believe there's no work we got to do. Because I believe God. He is a wonder. He's a miracle worker. He's going to see me through. He's going to bring me out. He's going to make a way. He's going to open a door. He's going to do it for me. Won't he do it? And God standing back with his arms crossed saying, what you think I told you to do? He gonna do it. He is all that and some more. But what are you? Why do you think he invested in you? Why do you think he gave you legs, ears, eyes? Why do you think God gave you that wonderful brain? That wonderful mechanism between your ears. Why do you think God put something in you, something deep down, a passion, a desire? Why do you think he gave you gifts and talents and ideas and creativity? Why do you think he made you with the capacity to reason, to think, and to believe and to trust him? Why do you think he endowed you and said, I'm going to make you in my image and in my likeness. I'm going to make you to be like me. I'm going to give you the capability, the capacity to do something. He didn't make us no rock for us to just sit somewhere. He made us intelligent. He made us, really productive. He made us smart. He made us with expertise. He made us with acumen. He made us with skill sets. He made us with go get it, with perseverance and patience and a whole lot of, and then he endows and anoints some things. Anoints ideas, gives dreams in the night and visions, and puts stuff in your belly and gives you, nudges you and brings before us opportunities, all right, to say, and God is saying, here I am, I'm in that. Waiting on you to grab it, and you don't grab it for a season, you know what happened to it? It goes away. And he's so gracious, he comes back again another season. Here it is. Here's an idea. Here's an opportunity. Here it is again. God doesn't require any work. Yeah, okay, it goes away. And it comes back some years later and said, I'm going to introduce you to a person. This person's going to do something. And you meet people and you get their business card and you talk to them and they say some things to you. And I just see something in, and I got an opportunity. And if you just come, I'm looking for persons and won't you join me in doing this? And God opens up doors and he works through people, you all. He puts people in your pathway that are resourceful and that can add and lead you and guide you, and that can show you the way, and that can get advantage, and that can mentor you and give you exposure and access to some things and stuff. He puts me here for me to spend time in and out of meetings, halfway falling asleep, tired of taking phone calls, don't want to go, didn't even get a chance to eat today, didn't even get a chance to eat. I stopped at 8 and it was so long, I only had a certain time, drove to Lansing. I was in 3 meetings before going to Lansing this morning. And got to Lansing and met with with the Secretary of State and then with Assistant Secretary of State. And went in there and I said some things to her, to Jocelyn Benson. I said, you have some friends. I said, thank God you made some decisions. You have some friends in Detroit. Those are the ones, y'all remember on election day or Sunday before they came here? I went to her office and I told her, I said, can I say something to you, Madam Secretary? Yeah. I said, listen, don't make the mistakes that most politicians make. I said, they get elected and they forget about us and they come back 4 years later. I said, you have a built-in network. You have friends in us. We love you. You made some great decisions. I applaud you for some things you've done. I talked to you about some things you've done. And I said, but you better bounce back every now and then to see about us. I told her just as that just shows my name is Marcus Ways. I told her, and then I told her, I said, there's some really some things. I said, I don't want you to make that because I see something in you. And I told her, I said, I pray for you, and I do. And she kind of got teary-eyed, and I said, I pray for you, and I want you to succeed, and I'm going to say this to you, and I speak it to you in truth. Say, this is not your last stop. She tried to get all humble. I said, no. I said, you got to hear me on this. This is not your last stop. I said, you got the makings of everything you need to go way beyond where you are right now. And she does. She worked for the law, the center, not the poverty center, the law center, and then she's Ivy League also. And I told her, I say, and then she has a heart she lives inside the city of Detroit, has a heart for us. And I said, you got some things that the other person don't have. And I said, I see something in you, and I'm expecting more. Say, but don't lose your base. I told her, don't lose your base. You better come back and see about us. And I said, I'm looking for some things. God doesn't give us these opportunities and put us in these places. I've known every governor, the last 4 or 5 governors had my personal cell phone number. I had theirs. I've been to the mansion. They know me personally. I walked in the room today. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, as soon as she came in, about 7,500 people in there. As soon as she walked in, she came, Pastor Ways, how you doing? Madam Governor, how you doing? That's favor. That's favor for me without an appointment to go call the Secretary of the state of Michigan and say, I'm just happen to be in Lansing. I wonder if you got a minute. I just want to stop by and say hi to you. Sure, come on. I had no appointment, but I knew I had a message I was going to give her. And it's that way with every entity. The mayors, every mayor had to know. County executive had to know their phone numbers. Chief of police have their cell phone, know them. They know me and I know them. Judges. Now, I haven't spent all these years making these relationships and resources and going and establishing. It ain't for me. It's so when I call and when I need resources, when we do something or when there's opportunity, I can find an avenue and a way. How can CGC benefit? How can the people of the community benefit? How can we help and enhance? How can our community be blessed? How can, this, that, and that's what it's for. Thankfully, God, and they trust me and have the integrity. They know one thing. I've said all of them know. I'm going to tell them the truth. They ain't got to worry about that. That's one thing they know about, giving the opportunity. And I say what I need to say the way I need to say it at the time, and so that they get the point, they get the idea. But you all, we have access, we have opportunity, and I know I'm talking to probably a congregation, a group of persons. I see and know some of you are hindered and think your age is your blockage. But just as sure as God is good, He's going to let you live 5 more years. I assure you of that. And in 5 more years, you're going to be sitting right here. And I'm going to get you in my car and drive you to Metro Airport and say, look at all that money. Amen. All I can do is expose you to it. All I can do is lead you, to the water. I can't make you drink, but all I got to do is just expose you and give you opportunities. I want some persons in here to get some of those Fiat Chrysler jobs. No reason why several of you can't get that Fiat Chrysler. No reason why some of you, I want something. I'm going to submit some names to the SBE, and then they'll take you through and walk you through. The deal is, if you're already certified, they're going to put you on fast track. If you're not certified, they're going to get you certified. Y'all fooling around. Another meeting, I'm just telling you, London, I met about 3 or 4 months ago or so. I was trying to get a couple of our young people some jobs, introduced them to a person, a friend of mine I knew from Houston that worked for a company. I won't divulge the company, but anyway, came in, and I was trying to get them some jobs, and they wanted a community engagement person. They were young, and I thought maybe I could, I knew it was a stretch, but I thought there was opportunity. And we took them there, met the lady, hired the decision hiring manager. One I knew from Houston, and one I did not know, and met them, and it didn't work out. They didn't have the qualifications, some things changed with the company. So I've been getting a call last 3 or 4 weeks. I've been getting emails from this one lady who I didn't know, who I met at that time, who worked for this company. And at that time that I met with her, she was really highly impressed with her. But I went in to impress her. I knew I would wow her, and I did. Okay. And at that time, she offered me a job. Who do you know? What do you do with that? Who can do this? Who can do that? And I went in and was dropping things and saying things to her because I knew I would captivate her with some information, and I did. And then she said, "I ought to hire you." Diane, I said, "Nah, I'm not." I said, "No, I'm not doing. I don't have the time to do this and this, that, and the other, and everything." So she's been chasing after me via email since that time. Finally, she said she's coming back. We had 2 or 3 scheduled meetings, didn't make it. So finally, I met with her today, and before I went to Lansing, and I'm going to be in town. Won't you come meet with me? Sit down. I want you to pick your brain of some things we want to do, engaging in Detroit. I need somebody to walk me through the Detroit culture and tell me how to do this, that, and so I sat down with her and I started talking to her. And Brother Vaughn, she was asking me questions. Can you give me the name? Who should do this? I said, let me give you the city of Detroit, how it works, what the culture is, what doors you have to knock. I said, but you're an outsider. I said, one thing about this city, the city takes care of its own. I said, I've watched 5 chief of police come in here and within a 10-year period, and all of them are gone. I said, I watched 4 or 5 superintendents of Detroit Public Schools come in here, and all of them had a great plan, and none of them stayed. I said, you know why? They were outsiders. I say, and Detroit is such a town that they don't take too kindly. It's a hardworking, blue-collar, we stayed here through thick and thin type of mentality, and we don't like outsiders coming in telling us what they're going to do and how they're going to do when you didn't go through the thick and the thin with us. I say, I say, there's some rooms and doors you'll never get in. And I say, so I talked about who should I get, who's the word, she dropped a couple of names. I said, they may do, they may not do. They're all right, they'll have part of the answer, but they don't have all the answer. And so she was asking me for names and giving her contacts, wanted me to open some doors for her, this, that, and the other. And so I looked at her, something dropped in my spirit. And I looked at her, Sister Butler. I said, let me ask you a question. She said, what? I say, how come you haven't offered that job to Pastor Marcus Ways? And she looked at me just like you looked at me and started turning red. So I looked at her thinking, I'm not going to give you all of my intellectual capital and what I know and resources and give you names and contacts and use my reference for you to come in here and do. And I'm sitting here right in front of you and you're going to hire somebody to do what you get out of me. And that ain't going to happen. She said, I thought, Pastor, I told you before when I first met you, I would have hired you, but you said no. I said, I tell you what you do. You go back to your people, your management, and you get them to work out the terms of a contract, a consultant agreement, and say, you call me up, and if the price is right, make me an offer I can't refuse. I told her, just God is my witness. In those words, I told her, I said, make me an offer I can't refuse. I said, bring me back the job requirement and the scope of the job. And I said, and then we'll see. I'll make a decision and see if it's something I'm interested in. I wasn't playing. I was really serious. I'm saying, okay, if it be right, I'll go get a job. I wasn't playing. I can consult. I know how to consult. I know how to consult. You, after all, you're getting out of me what anyway? Just about I done sat here an hour and gave you everything you need to know to come up with a strategic plan and an action plan. Might well pay me for it. I said that to say, if y'all don't go get some of these jobs, I may go out there and ask to knock on some doors. Say, y'all want somebody? Give me a consulting gig. I can consult for several hours a day. Give me. Why are you looking like that, Mr. Austin? Y'all turn that live stream off. You can just get. Why are you looking like? I mean, I'm employable. I got 2 degrees. I know some people. I got some sense. I can read and write. I know how to process and critical